Hello, thanks for joining me for another plan with me. This week I am using a gorgeous sunflower kit from SweetFoxPaperie. Here are the full boxes, the full box checklists, the bottom washi and small washi strips, the half box and quarter box, the headers, banner, and checklists, the day covers, and deco. Alright, so let's get started. As always, I will start with putting down the date covers, and I absolutely love the date covers from SweetFoxPaperie. They are always decorative and kiss cut, so for this kit, they are just the kind of half top of the sunflower, and I love the way that they look. I just count out my grid spaces here quickly just so I can make sure that I'm spacing everything out properly. I usually try to leave one line in between in case I overlap a little bit between days, and it usually gives me a nice spacing where I'm using up pretty much all of the page. Next, I will put down the bottom washi. These kits are designed with the Erin Condren Life Planner in mind, so there's usually a smaller washi strip and then a longer one, so the shorter one tends to fit just perfectly as is, and then for the other side of the page I always just have to trim it down a little bit, but it's relatively easy if you just line it up with the cut lines at the bottom, which I will show you when I get to that page. Next, I go in and start off with my today header. I usually like to put my kind of today's first, and that's where I'll either put an event or some specific priority for that day. And here you can see I'm just using a quarter box. Sometimes I'll use a half box, it just kind of depends what I have going on. Then next I put down a full box, and again with this kit there's a lot of nice complementary colors, but I did try to color block rather than having multiple colors out on each day. I tried my best. There were a few icons that I really wanted to use that didn't necessarily match the color block for that day, so there's a few pieces that didn't follow along, but for the most part I think I was able to stick to the color blocking, which was nice. Then at the bottom of Monday, I just lay out my to-do checklist. Next week, I am actually off work, so I have lots I want to get done. There's a few kind of day outings that my husband and I are planning to do with my daughter, but outside of that, I'm looking to get a lot of things done at home, like some organizing and cleaning and that sort of thing, so I will need some big to-do lists for next week. So here I just put an icon at the top because Tuesday is always payday, and then I start off with my today header again. For this spread, I am trying to stagger the full boxes. It's been a while since I've done a layout with full boxes that kind of mesh together as a landscape, although I do have some kits in my arsenal waiting to be used, so I will probably pull some of those out going forward. It's just been a long time since I've actually had to coordinate the full boxes. Usually I can just kind of put them down in any way that I want, which is nice, but it is fun to do a landscape view once in a while. For Friday, I put the full box at the bottom and start from there. I tend to switch it up just depending on what's going on with the stickers and how I'm feeling with the layout. Sometimes I'll start from the date covers and go down, and sometimes I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. It's nice to be in a bujo and have that flexibility. here I'm just wrapping up Friday so that I can move on to making my weekly dashboard. So as you can see, just off screen, I went through and cut the page down. I usually keep 11 grid spaces for my Dutch door in the middle, and I use a Fiskars paper cutter to trim it down, and then I also have a Fiskars corner rounder, which I use just to round off the corners of the pages so that they match the rest of the pages. And before I start on my dashboard, I just go in with my white Jelly Roll gel pen. This one is a size 10. And I just go and add a little bit of, I guess it's like a drop shadow, but it's more of a highlight to all the headers, just to make them pop a little bit more off the page. I also just quickly add a little corners to the bottom washi. At first I thought it looked okay, but then after I did the headers, I decided that I wanted to add just a little bit of enhancement to those as well. Then for my touch door, I start with some washi at the top. There were these two pieces of washi that had little sunflowers on them, and I thought that would work really well, so I put those in first. And then I added the full box with the quote. And the quote there just says, "All flowers grow through dirt." I feel like that was a really good quote, considering everything right now. I know I'm not the only one alone dealing with a lot of different stressors, and sometimes it can feel like things are really hard and overbearing, but you just have to remember that if you can push through, the sunlight is there on the other side, and you will just be all the better and stronger for it. Then I go in and put this week's header, and I add one of the Habit full boxes. This one is just a full box, has all the days of the week listed out, and I will use that just to keep track of any events happening that week, any appointments, and also I like to keep track of when my husband is working, just because he's a contractor, so his working days vary week by week. And then at the bottom, I just put my habit trackers. I started from the bottom and worked my way up, just because I don't like leaving space at the bottom of the page usually, and this way it left a nice little space in between where I could put some deco. And as you can see, I did the same thing on this page with the white jelly roll. I just went in and added a little embellishment to the header. Then for the back side of my dashboard, I'm going to start out with meals. So this tracker I use just to keep track of what we're doing for supper. As I mentioned before, my husband looks after my daughter during the day and I work, and then he works certain days, so planning out meals is really important, and we always want to try to make sure that we're having supper together. So this just kind of helps us plan ahead and also helps us prep our grocery list for the week. Then next I just put in some errands, and I just used a full box checklist for that. This way I can keep track of any important errands that have to happen that week. I also wanted to put one for goals. I had thought about putting it right up against the errands, but decided against it, just so that I could leave a little bit of space in between. Thankfully, this kit comes with a lot of selection of deco and washi, so it's easy to find some elements that you can just fill that space in. So now I will move over to the second half of my week. Again, I will start with my date headers. I do spin the page around in order to do that, so I try to keep the pages kind of looking symmetrical, so when I start from the left hand side, I'm starting from the edge of the page and working in, so when I move over to the right hand side, I like to do the same, where I start at the edge of the page and work my way in, which is why I start with the Saturday date cover and then work my way inwards with Friday and Thursday. Again, I try to leave one space in between just in case I need to overlap anything, and it makes sure that things are spaced pretty well using as much of the page as possible. Now that I have the date covers down, I go ahead and measure up the bottom washi, so you can see I just fold the page along the cut line for the bottom of the washi there, and then I line it up with the edge of the page and make a mark just with pencil for where I need to cut it. And then I can just quickly cut the washi and then lay it down on the page. So now I can go and start putting in my headers, starting with the today. As I said, I usually put that one at the start of each day, although Saturdays, because those are the days where my husband typically works for the whole day, because I'm home, I don't tend to put too much there. So usually for Saturday, I'll only have a today rather than doing a today for a priority and then having a to-do list. I do not do to-do lists on Saturday because I have tried to do that in the past and then it just never gets done because I'm always busy with my daughter. I can do a few things while she naps because thankfully she does nap for about 2.5 hours. But you know, sometimes I also like to take that time for myself. So I try not to put a to-do list on Saturday just so that I feel, disappointed at the end of the day when it's not completed. You can see here I'm just using my tweezers to help me put in the checklists. It just helps me get them more even because on this side of the page I'm not lined up with the grid on the left side, so I just kind of have to eyeball it, and the tweezers are super helpful in being able to lay the checklists out straight. Now I can move on to Friday. Again, starting with the today header and then working my way down and trying my best to color block with the full boxes. Then once I have got Friday all laid out, I can put in my Sunday date cover. Usually I would have done that after I put the washi down, but I kind of just forgot. So when I finished Friday, then I realized that I still needed to fill in my Sunday date header. In the past, I have measured out the grid spaces and tried to make Saturday and Sunday even spaced, but I found that it just took a lot of time and didn't really enhance the spreads anyways. So now I just eyeball it when I'm putting in that date header. I think it turns out just fine anyways. Nobody seems to really notice that the days are uneven, and even if they are, it seems to work out just because Saturdays tend to not be a super busy day sticker wise, and then Sundays tend to be much busier because I try to get a lot more done on Sunday when my husband and I are both home. So it always works out in the end. For Saturday, I put in the today and the quarter box, and then there was this really pretty wreath, deco, and so I decided to put that one down, but before I placed it, I figured it would look kind of cool to put some washi behind it, so I did go back and lay some washi down first, and then just lay the wreath over top of that. Very noisy house today. Usually my plan with me's are much quieter, but my dog and my husband are both stomping around. So that's what you can hear in the background. I hope you don't mind. Just the sounds of a busy life, I suppose. And for Sunday, as I said, Sundays are my cleaning days, so I always put down the cleaning header and then a to-do list, because I try to accomplish the most possible on Sundays. Then, now that I have wrapped up setting down all my stickers, I go back in with that jelly roll again, just to add the embellishings to the headers. As I said before, I am using the Jelly Roll gel pen in size 10. Often when I'm writing words with the white gel pens, I will use the smaller, like 0.8 size, or I guess they call it 8. But I really like the way that the 10 is for drawing lines and putting some embellishments on the headers, because the flow is really nice. You get a lot of color all at once. If I was using the smaller tip, I would probably have to go in a couple times just to finish it and make it all look cohesive. As you can see, I had struggled a little bit. This pen I actually found out after was running out of ink, so it's time to replace that one. Thankfully, I have a lot of extra, which is good, because I did have to just go over it a couple times to get the white to come out. So, time to replace that pen. It has served its purpose and been used many, many times. And I just go and add the kind of white outline again to the bottom washi, and I actually tried to mirror what I did on the other page, so that again, that kind of symmetry stayed. Then I just went in and drew in some color for the to-do lists. I decided to color block those as well, so I used the green zebra Mildliner for the color blocked green day, and then the orange for the other days. Yeah, funny enough, I only used a green to-do list once, and I used the yellow one several more times, so I ended up using the yellow quite a bit more than the green. And to finish off this spread, I actually pulled a quote out of one of the Happy Planner sticker kits, or sticker books, I guess. I believe this one is the Country Farmhouse collection, and I just decided to place that down on the washi on the left side, and I placed the weekend banner that came with the kit on the washi on the right hand side. Thanks so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed.